Hello. Hey, hi everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
Amit.
hi, hi.
Hi, hi. Okay, so let's get started. So, did you all work on the data model, the file that I shared yesterday?
Yeah, but I have some questions on that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, yeah, just a sec. Let me log in from my system. Okay, I just connected from Mac. Just 2 minutes.
Amit, yesterday I asked about that column is showing many to many relationship, right?
Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, I solved it because that column has one null row. So it's showing that. So I unchecked that null to load into the data. So then it's solved. It's now giving the many to one relationship.
But how did that null came up in that?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But I checked the data. It's a customer in that there is one row with null. Um,
Amit, shall I share my screen now?
Yes. So there was only one such row with the null value because one null it doesn't give that problem with that. Because if you have one null,
I don't know whether it's one or no, but I checked that filter, then it's showing that null first. So I unchecked that in that filter itself. So then I loaded. Maybe it has few,
of
but
course, null will be multiple, I guess. That is what would be happening.
yeah.
Yeah, Amit, is this data model right? Because I have this particular relationship, it is showing me in dotted line. So is it recognizing correctly or the establishment of relationship is wrong?
So, see what would be happening is, and uh, you can actually have one between two tables. We just can have only one relationship, right? So
Okay.
basically, if you see over here,
Should I
between
give
this
you
table,
control?
just a second, let me just take a look at it.
Yeah.
Can you give me the control, please? Uh,
Oh, no, I'm not getting any request from you. Okay.
See, basically, what happens is the relationships what happens is the relationship that you make, right? So it's
Okay.
like we should not focus on that, like anywhere if we are finding the common column that we are connecting it up. Okay,
Okay.
so the relationships, because the data is kind of flowing from one table to another. So if you see
Okay.
over here, right? So when you have made
Mhm.
this relationship over here with the product ID to product ID,
Okay.
and now if you will see on this relationship, right? So this product ID to this product ID. Now,
Yeah.
and this table is something if you will see over here also, you have made this relationship of this table with the product, which column this zip code over here, right? So as the data
Yeah.
is among the different table, it is just creating a lot of ambiguity in this model over here, right?
Okay.
So like what is the procedure that you followed in terms of making the relationship, right? I think you just saw that if you have any connecting column, you just made a relationship between that, right? That is
Yeah,
how
and
you
one
model.
more thing, Amit, I just maintained this manufacturer table as the primary key and the region table, the zip code there as the primary key. So wherever I saw those ID, I treat this particular manufacturer ID in the manufacturer table as primary key, and I am just linking. I thought in that manner.
That is exactly. So what you just thought, I mean, like wherever you see now zip code to zip code, you
Yeah,
just connected this to that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
what is happening right now is if you see product ID is flowing in this table over here. Okay,
yeah,
so you have matched this table to this table in
yes.
this. And now when you come over here again with this table, sentiment table, you are connecting this to this product ID over here one more time. This is uh, zip
Zip
code.
code. Yeah,
This
zip
is,
code from the region table to this sentiment table.
right. So
That
when
is
you
one
see
to
this,
many.
so that is these arrows that you see. So the
Yeah.
data is also flowing in that direction, right? So data is flowing in that direction, and if you will come over here, right? So like we just
Yeah.
say, if you click on this manage relationships,
Mm-hmm.
so see one rule is two tables can only have, I mean, one relationship that you can have. You cannot have more than one relationship between the two
Oh,
tables.
okay.
If
Okay.
you come over here, if you think that there is some problem you have, so you see now
Mm-hmm.
it shows you this the problem that you are having. You
Yeah.
can't create a direct active relationship between sentiment and table because it is creating confusion among the manufacturer table and the manufacturer table and sentiment table. So you
Okay.
have this manufacturer table and this sentiment table over here, right? This and this table. So what you are saying is that you have made a relationship over here also. You have connected something
Okay.
on the, and this table is connected on the basis of manufacturer ID, right? So manufacturer
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
product over here. So these tables are different, right? In terms of
Yeah.
the kind of
But
data that you're trying to associate. So first
okay.
you should take a look at the data
Yeah. Sorry.
also,
Sorry.
right? So that is where this problem has happened now. From here, you are saying this manufacturer will flow into this table. So
Yeah.
we are trying to say that this manufacturer is
One to
now
many.
linked, and this see, like if you just see this direction right now, the data goes from this manufacturer table.
Yeah.
Okay, it comes into
Yes.
this product table.
Productive.
From this
Yeah.
product table, you are saying that this data is now flowing into this sentiment table. Correct? That
Okay.
means manufacturer ID is getting linked over here, which is flowing the data into this, and this data is flowing over here on the basis of product ID. Now, if you see over here this table and over here this table, it creates
Mm-hmm.
that ambiguity over here that manufacturer to manufacturer is flowing over here. So manufacturer will get kind of like
Okay.
how that data will be related. Is it based on a manufacturer or is it based on a product ID? So two relationships
Okay.
are coming into this table on the basis of that. So it made
Okay.
only, it is saying that you can only keep either that complete flow basis the product ID or basis
Mm-hmm.
the manufacturer ID. So that is why it is showing this as a dotted line.
Okay, what I thought is like if I didn't connect these two tables via product ID, I felt like this will be left alone. No matching records for the corresponding product ID. That's not right,
So,
right?
no,
It will,
because you're
yeah.
only fetching it because based on you see every manufacturer will be having its own product,
Okay,
correct?
okay.
So
Yeah,
now the data is already connected based on the manufacturer ID. That based on
yeah.
manufacturer ID, you will be able to fetch those products. So that is
Okay,
where
okay.
that problem is coming up over here.
Okay, okay. Yeah, now I got it. Yeah, if we see this dotted lines, there is some incorrect I mean, which is not correct related to the relationship from which we
Correct.
can understand, right? Okay. And
Yes.
one more thing, yeah, can you please go to this data pane? Yeah,
Data
the
view.
data. Yeah. Here in the data table, right, so much of the columns seems to be irrelevant. We can remove those columns.
1 second. So this is date table, right?
Yeah, I already removed columns like some repetition, month number, month name, month ID.
Mm.
I have removed those columns. Yeah, in the applied steps, you can see if you want.
Let me just open that file.
Yeah, basically how you will be removing the columns based on the requirements from the clients. Whichever seems to be irrelevant, you will be removing those columns.
So basically the columns that you find that are not useful, we can delete them. So if you feel that this column is not required or this is something that is not giving you any data or something like that, we remove that.
Yeah, for example, in the region table also, district number which is not required, right? So we can remove that as well.
So Divya, I think you
Number.
also have a similar question, right? Now is it making sense like why that dotted line is coming?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
I mean, I was answering to Divya. I'm just opening that Excel file. Let's see, because under the if you feel that something is not coming clear, so the best way is we should always first, we should open that Excel. What happened? Hello, can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, I think my system also. Yeah. So we have. Right, so these rolling month and rolling, these columns are actually blank in the data only. So you really don't need them. If you want to delete them, you can delete also.
We cannot see your screen, Mr. Amit.
It's okay. No, like the columns that you see on Deepa's screen right now. Okay, these are columns which are blank in the data set itself. So there is no data inside them. Running months, rolling period.
So if you scroll down, there are some data few records for rolling months and rolling period.
Excel, I do not see.
On the middle, there are some like this particular from 0 to 30 months or something. I don't know. I couldn't understand this data. I mean, this particular date table.
Can you apply the filter on this? The rolling period and rolling start, just apply the filter on that.
I was just checking. See, there are some data for 12 months running 13 to 24.
Click OK on this.
Yeah. And what
Have you done some?
Trying to. I'm not getting this actually, this data.
Actually, I don't see this. Have you done some renaming also over the tables, right? You have done some renaming over.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I have renamed everything. Yeah. This is from the date table. These things I didn't rename. This is as such. The column names are as such. I didn't rename here.
Strange, because I don't see this over there.
Do you think these datas are relevant? This month index, running months.
The month index is just like the month number that you have.
Yeah.
Like July month, that is a 7 over here.
Okay. because like month index, we got month ID, month number, month name seems to be repetitive. So I removed those 3 columns.
Just a second, let me just get this data.
Shall I show in the transform window or this is fine?
Just give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll share my screen. Right, so I have these tables with me. So what I do is I load date, geography, manufacturer, and first of all, I'll just uncheck this, the data source settings. So this is for the current file, right? Okay. See, now, we should always first spend a couple of minutes on understanding the data, right? What type of data do we have in this? So now I can see all these data tables coming over here. Okay. And if I come on this data table in this date table, this is once. I'll just go through it. This is saying that how this data is coming up in this, right? So there's running 12 months and on, 12 months, 1344. And this is the running month number 36 and 3. So what I'll do is just give me, at today's time, this file, I'll just go through it once and then explain you like what is happening in this rolling data and rolling period start. Right, these columns I'll just let you know. So what's this thing with this? Okay.
Yeah. Do you have the requirements for this, Amit, or do we have to build our own? Uh,
I mean, you want a reference file?
no. Do
Or
you have any requirements as such? You gave like assignment one
no,
for this PBL.
this was just to create the relationships over here between the different tables. That's it.
Okay.
So basically, once you have the relationships with you, then
Yeah.
what you can do is you can start making some charts based on the understanding of the data, right? Like in which month, which year-wise sales you could create, right? You could create
Yeah.
the region-based analysis in which cities, district we sold, we had higher number of sales. So that is what the idea was over here. So once you make the relationship, then it's your data. Now you can start working with it, start consuming. So no question on terms of to work on something like this.
Okay.
Okay, because in the sales fact table, you will find some sales values, revenues in units. So this we had to calculate that over here. So we have this sentiment table over here, right? So in this, we have some state IDs and scores, what different scores the people have given to the different the products over here from the different manufacturers. So that is what the whole idea was. So trying to do some sentiment analysis as in which manufacturer or which products have better scores or which have poor scores. So that is what was expected to do.
Amit, we have already mapped the zip codes from one table to, we already established a relationship. So the state ID it's like no use here because we have this ID only in this table.
Uh,
We already
so
made a relationship via zip code. So no
also
need to have another relationship via state ID, right? That is not required.
you can only make it one relation. You will either be able to make it by zip or by state ID. So if you have made it by zip code, so you don't need to make it by state ID in that case.
Yeah. Because most of the column seems to be irrelevant in some of the tables. So asking.
No, so they are irrelevant in what context are you saying? See, you are saying irrelevant in the context of relationships, or you are saying
Yeah, both
irrelevant.
relationship and as well as in the data wise. If you see district, I thought it will mention, but it have only two numbers. It is seems to be repetitive.
Which column?
A district number.
Huh?
Yeah.
Uh, in which table are you referring to?
Geo, I think in Geo.
So geography table,
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah. Yeah. See the district number 13. If you filter, there is only two values. So I just want, yeah, I mean, sorry, I just wonder what is the scope of this district one to, it's just us, right?
Oh, if you see over here, na, so in the geography table, if you see, so basically, see, this is the same hierarchy that you have. Zip code, right? Now, every city will have multiple zip codes, and city belongs to a state, right?
Yeah.
And the states are divided into different regions, and regions are also divided into districts over here. So, I mean, basically, if you will try to see the column sequencing could be little disturbed, right? So like you can just, what you do is you select one district at one point in time. You try to see it, what you get in that. So you see in this, you have a variety of zip codes and you have different cities, and then you check out the states. So these are the states that are coming inside this, right? And the region will be east only and the district is zero one over here. It's like, more like a mapping of that region has been done. So if you will try to now see over here, so if you don't take east and you take now district number 2 and you click OK over here. So district, so now see in each region also you have multiple districts over here. You are seeing it. So
Yeah.
this is, we just have to a little bit investigate it, like what that data, how those fields are related to each other. So now this is something that will happen in the projects as well, that once the data comes to you, you
Okay.
will have to get your hands on it, that how those things are related to each other, right? So there will be very less times where a person will give you a download of it, that what each field is or how they're related, right? Because for some typical terms, in the projects you get a data dictionary that okay, district means this, region means this,
Yeah.
but like yeah, right. So but over here, if we see over here, so we'll have to just find that relationship ourselves. So now if I just select all of them and I'll just filter on one region now, for example. So if I just pick East region, right? So I will see, or I mean, I picked West region. So you will see associated districts to that region, right? So 33, 34, 35, 36. Now these are all associated with this West region that we have,
Okay.
right? So every district, if you see now, so basically the highest level of hierarchy is this region over here. So every state is linked to the district. So a couple of districts can have multiple states inside it, and each region has multiple districts into it. So if you just try to see it from the analysis purpose of a company, they would like to understand, okay, which district got the highest sales, which district got the lowest sales. So if there is a district manager that you have, so district manager will be able to make use of that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, got it. If we have some requirements, we can just relate. But the entire data set, likewise, I asked for the date table, right? We couldn't relate what is what.
That is that field. That was
Yeah.
basically, there are these are like the calculations, rolling months and rolling periods, right? That is what you have inside it. Otherwise, rolling months means you keep on adding the months to it. Like whenever you have the first number, you are just adding the months back to back into it. So that is like rolling months and running year. So we keep adding on that stuff. That is something that is called as running months and the running years. So first year, the second year, the third year. So we are just capturing that years on that. So if you will see over here, right, 3 year, 36 months, right? So third year, 36 months that you are getting over here. So you see 3 years that you have. So first year, if you will pick it up from here, okay.
12.
So you will see in first year you have 12 months, right? So it tells you that there are 12 months in that first year, right? There are 12 months in this. So you see the month name over here. So if you will now come to the year number 2, it will show you 24, right? Because year 1 plus year 2, that makes it 24 months. So that is how that running months and running year is representing over here. That means now we are in the second year, right? So if you would have seen this 2012 became 2013. Now we're in the second year, which has again 12 months. So that makes it total of 24 months of period. And we have the months running from 13 to 24th month. So that is what the running month and running year is telling.
Running months, you're saying, is it like the range from this to this?
The range. So you have 3 years of data. So
Yeah.
first year, 1 to 12 months, right? Then 13 to 24 months, then 25 to 36 months. So that is what this period is telling me. The running months, running year, and this running period over here,
Okay.
right? So we keep on adding running total. Have you heard of running total?
Yeah, like
Running total,
some running. Yeah.
cumulative sum. It's
Yeah.
actually the cumulative sum. That is how they have just represented that column over here.
Why? Because it is showing only 1 year. I was thinking like, is it the cumulative total or how come it is calculating? So I didn't analyze this first. Now I'm getting it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So now I'm just sharing one more file with you over here. So with you all, just sharing a data file. So I just went to Lakshmi. Let me show you everything. Okay, so I've shared one file with all of you, that is training sample. Okay, so I'll request all of you to please download this and open a new Power BI file. So see, if you will open that file first, let's just open that file. Okay. So you will take a look at in this, this is again a sales data that you have. Like for example, regional data, country, customer, business segment, name of the category, the model. So you can see over here, right? Like this mountain 100, this is one of the mountain bikes. And the company in silver color, there was one client, right? The customer was Trusted Catalog Store. They purchased, three quantities of that. And you are given list price and unit price, like what is the list price of that and the unit price of that. So list price is like the price at which he is selling it, and unit price the price at which he is buying it. So you have good amount of data in this, right? You have around like 61,000 rows of data. So what we're going to do now is, so since we have seen that how do we do some data modifications, data transformations, we have seen how we have built up the different type of charts, okay, and we have seen that how that you make the relationships between the different tables that you have. Now Power BI also has a very strong feature which is called as DAX. Okay, DAX is something that stands for data analysis expressions. So let me just open that up. Okay. Now we want to understand what DAX are, right? DAX stands for data analysis expressions. It's like a formula language, right? Like if you remember in the Excel, we learned some formulas, left, right, mid, if, those were the kind of formulas that we discussed. Now, similarly, you have that formula language in Power BI also, but this is a little more advanced, right? This is more advanced to what we learned in Excel, and it has more features in terms of it helps us in doing the calculations. Now this language that we are going to learn, right, there's the DAX language. Now it's like a formula language only, and it is not just that you can use it in the Power BI. In the other products of Microsoft also you can use it over there. So there is analysis services, that is one of the products of Microsoft. You can use the DAX language over there also. Power Pivot in Excel, you can use the DAX over there also, and definitely in the Power BI desktop, we will be using it up any which ways. So this DAX expression is something that are available at various places. So the idea will be that how do we use it over here and what are the benefits of it, and we will be seeing some of the very important DAX that are used when you make some reports. And then what we will also be doing is we will be when we use this DAX formula, so over there definitely we use functions, we can use some operators, and we can use some values also, right? So it's a complete kind of a creation of a syntax which helps us in doing some robust calculations. With the help of a DAX, we will be learning on how to make calculated columns, measures, tables, and row filters, right? So with the help of a formula itself, there are a lot of things that we will be able to do on this. So how we will start the process of this DAX is, we will start it with the help of making first the calculate columns, right? A calculate column is something which adds a data to an existing table, and that table that we add it with the help of a formula. Okay, so when I'm talking about a table, when I'm talking about a calculate column over here, that means the existing data that you have, in that you want to add some calculations and add some new tables into that data now. So let us see how do we do that. So in the Power BI, so what we do is this, just open a new Power BI file. And in that first step, load the data from the training sample. Okay, so get the Excel, the training sample 2. Okay, so please load the data of training sample 2. So now when you come to the data view, so you will be able to have a quick glimpse of the data over here, right? So you can see that all the data that we were seeing in the Excel, we can see a complete glimpse of that over here in the Power BI. Are you all able to load the data?
Yeah.
Okay. See, now you know the first step that we will start with, like we will see how do we add new columns over here, right? So if you have to add a new column in this data set, what you do is you click on new column. So it will open a formula bar kind of a stuff for you, right? Like where we write the formulas in like in Excel. Similarly, the formula bar opens up. Now you see I have list price, order quantity, unit price, order quantity. So what if I want to calculate the cost? How will I calculate the cost? Cost will be cost equal to list price, not list price, it should be unit price, right? So unit price multiplied by order quantity. So I am calculating this. So see in the calculate column, what happens is the calculations are going to happen row by row, and a data will be generated for us. So if you click on commit, the data will be generated. Getting it, everyone? And you know, when you add a new column in this data set, like the cost that we have added, you will see a different type of a symbol. This symbol is telling what type of a data do you have in that. Similarly, can you add a column of sales now? Right, so sales will be list price into order quantity, the price at which I am selling it. So sales equals to list price multiplied by order quantity. Now if you want to add a new column of profit, right? So I can say profit equal to, so you can add a calculate column based on calculations also, right? So if I say profit equal to sales minus cost, so I'll be able to add that as well, right? Sales minus cost. So that is going to give me the profit that I made. Okay. So now, you also have some interesting date columns that you can generate on the basis of the date fields. Suppose you want to extract the year. So how will you extract the year? So we have the date functions like year. So you can extract the year from sales date, right? So if you all remember, right, on the sales date, there is a hierarchy that is automatically generated by the Power BI, like year, quarter, month, and day. You are able to extract it. But I will be showing you that how we will be deactivating that hierarchy, and we might need to extract the year, month columns by itself. So if I say year and the field is sales date, now please don't do select anything from here. Just when you write sales date, close the bracket. Because if you will select something, it is going to give you an incorrect result. So you are saying you want to extract, if you say from year, you want to extract from training sample to sales date dot year, you are extracting year from year. That will give you an incorrect result. So you just have to select the date field and close the bracket. And you will see year will be extracted for you. Same way, can you please extract month number as well? If you want to extract the month number. So how will I do it? That will be month equal to month of sales date. I hope you are able to make all these columns up till now, right? This five columns that we have made.
Yeah.
Right. So now let's add another column over here. Suppose if you want to add a week number, right? So you have week num function over here. So if you say week number, so if you use week num function, with that you can extract the week number, right? Like for example, year we have 52 weeks. So you give the date field, sales date, comma, then you can give the input 1 or 2. Basically, your week begins from Sunday or it begins from Monday. So suppose I'm saying week begins from Sunday, so I'll put 1 and close it. So this will give me week number over here.
Amit, if we didn't give any, will it take any default value for this? Or
That
no?
will be 1. The first value. The first value that comes, that takes it as a default. Now, can you try the function weekday over here? Weekday. Okay, week day is also something which like is like week number. So it gives you certain inputs over here. So if you calculate weekday now, so weekday is equal to weekday function, and date is sales date, comma. Now it is saying how do you want the numbering, right? Sunday through Saturday, 1 to 7, or 1 to 7, or 0 to 6, right? So like Sunday will be 1 in this scenario. In this scenario, Monday will be 1. In this case, Monday will be 0, and likewise the day numbers will be given to you. Okay. So now if I just put 1 over here in this case, that I want to go it with 1. So I'll get the weekday extracted. So we'll see weekdays are extracted over here. So 6 means this Friday over here, right? 7 will be Saturday. So now let's do one thing. Let's make a small table, right? So let's make a small table. So like let's pick a table over here. So you pick up a table visual. Suppose by country, I would like to see the total sales, cost, and profit. So I can see that, right? So I will pick up the cost. What was the cost in each country? What was the sales in each country? And then what was the profit in each country? Now, if you want to make some new columns, you can make the new columns from here also, right? By right clicking on your data set, you can say new column. You will find that option over here as well. It's not mandatory that you always have to go in the data, or you can, come over here in this. If you come into that, this modeling tab, you will find an option of new column over here as well. So there are multiple places where you will find an option to add a new column. Now what we will do is, see over here, if you see month numbers and week days, these are coming in the form of a number. Suppose if you have to make some chart where you have to show monthly sales. Now definitely if you will show those months in the form of numbers, it will not look good. So if you want to extract those months in the form of names, right? Like as in Jan, Feb, March. So we have a function that we use, that is the function name is format. Okay, so format, so format is a function in which what you do is it's a function which converts a number into a defined type of format. Like for example, if I say you have a date with you, right? Like first, today's date only, let's take 16th June 2021. So now what I do over here is, if I use a format function, it's something like, text function in Excel. You have a text function in Excel, like it converts a value, a number to a specific format. So like if this is the value, this is the date number, and you say that you want to extract month from here, right? So this text function is, so what it does is it gives me June, right? JUN. If I write 4 times M, it will give complete June. M stands for month, right? If similarly, if I use text function over here in Excel, and this is the date, and I write DDD, it is going to give me day, that it is Wednesday, right? And if I write 4 times D, it gives me complete day, Wednesday. Okay, now this exact same function is available by the name of format in Power BI. So if I come over here and I say I want to create a new column, and in that, oh, what happened? Oh, actually, my memory is just give me a minute. Just sorry. Now let's create a new column over here. Right? So now new column that I'm building, I'm calling it as month name. Now month name is, I will use format. So if I say format, see same function, sales date, comma, what do you want to extract? So if I write MMM 4 times M, it is going to give me the complete month name. Similarly, please extract the weekday name also. All of you just extract the weekday name. Done. Okay. So now, all of you please make a matrix, right? So now you all have to do two things. You have to add a slicer of year, create a matrix to show month on month sales by country. So these are two things that you have to do now. Able to make it? So we add a slicer. In this slicer, what we do is we add year. And what we do is, so if you will see this slicer, right, this slicer is coming a little different. Why is so? The reason for that is, because in this slicer, I have put up numerical data. So when you put numerical data in a slicer, it gives you a slider kind of a view. Slider means you can select, right? You want to see the years from 2017 or 2018 to 2020. So you can move it like this and the data will be filtered out. But if you want a regular list or a drop down, so how do you do it? Just click on this little arrow over here, right? You will be able to convert it into a drop down, right? So you will get the years like this. You want to convert it into a list, you will get it like this. Okay. Now what you do is, let's make a matrix. This is a matrix that you have. So matrix is just like pivot table, right? You have the rows and columns. So in the rows, I am keeping country, and month name I am going to keep in the columns. And I'm going to keep sales over here in the values. So we'll now see a matrix is created where I can now see the sales by country and month. So if I select 2018, so I will be able to see the values according to that. do you all notice something which should be corrected out?
In the slicer?
In the visual? Right, if you take a look at it, the month name that I'm using, it's not coming in the chronological order, right? You see April, August, December, February, Jan, July, June. Technically, it should be Jan to December, right? That is how the months should be coming up. But they are coming in
Yeah,
the
it's not.
alphabetical order, right? So they're coming in the alphabetical order. So, and that is happening, because it's a character value, that is a text value. But if you want that sorting to be coming up in the correct sequence that you want, so what we do in that case is you will click on month name. You will click on month name. So you will actually have to sort this month name by month number, right? Because if you will take a look at this data, right? So April means 4, right? May would mean 5, Jan would mean 1. So what if I say that the sorting of this column should be done on the basis of this numbering over here? Because every month is tagged to one number over here. So what we do is I click on the month name, and at the top you will see over here one option coming up, sort by column. So if you click on sort by column and I say that I want to sort it by month, your sorting will get correct. So you can now see the months are coming from Jan to December. Okay. So you can always take the leverage of sorting by a month if you have such a data. Done? Okay. So now, if you want to add a conditional column, right? If you want to add a conditional column in the data, you can do that as well, right? So like if function, if you all remember, we used in Excel. So we have that over here also. You want to add a new column. Suppose I call that column as sales group. Sales group, I am saying if exactly same way, right? If I'm saying the sales are more than 1000, I want to get the output as over 1000, comma, otherwise I want to get the output as less than 1000. Okay. So you see, you get that output over here, over 1000 and less than 1000. If you want to write nested if conditions, you can do that also. But we have a better way in Power BI to manage nested conditions, right? We have a function which is called as switch, which can be used to do that. So before I do that, now I want you all to make a table, right? Create a table that shows the count of less than 1000 transaction and more than 1000 transaction. I mean, I want to see how many transactions were above 1000 and how many transactions were below 1000. So I want to see a count of that. So can you make a table on that? right? I hope you are able to do it. So if you make a table over here, how will I achieve it? I will simply drag my field of sales group, right? So I get this less than 1000 more over 1000, and I can drag the same thing again, and I will take a count of this, right? So I get a count that these many transactions were below and these were over. Okay. Now, in this over here, you also have a feature where you can convert it into a sales percentage. Like for example, if I bring the same field again and I change it into a count, okay, then over here only, you have one option which is called as show value as. So if you say show value as percent of grand total, it is going to divide the number, right? 31907 by 60,000. 29012 by 60,000. So you get 52% and 47% as the average over here, as the percentage over here.
Amit, I have a question. Instead of sales group, right? For getting the count, I just dragged the sales group first and I dragged the sales field and I changed that aggregation to count. Is
That
that
will
right?
be the same. That will be the same because count is just counting the number of rows where that less than 1000 is coming. So you can drag any field in that case.
Okay.
So now on this data, we have created 5 charts. Then now you also have an additional function that we have, that is switch. See, if you have to make multiple conditions, so what you can do is you can actually use switch condition over here. So what is switch? So it's just, I will say a function where you have to write multiple conditions. So how we use it is you just say new column, and you say switch, or I will call it as sales group 2. I'm going to call it as switch function. Now see how we use the switch function is, it's very straightforward. So where we say, first of all, it will ask you for the expression. Expression means that whenever the condition is true, you want to generate the output. Then what you do is you start giving your condition. So I am saying if the sales are more than 2000, I want the output as, what should be the value? It should be, suppose I am saying over 2000. This is my first condition. And if the condition is true, this is the output. Then I put a comma, then I put second condition. Now what's the second condition? I am saying if the first condition fails, it jumps to the second condition. Now I am checking if the sales are more than 1500, I want the output as between 1500 to 2000, right? Then you want to put a third condition. Now I'm saying if the sales is greater than 1000, in that case I want the output to be as between, or maybe I can call it as like this. Let's call it this as group A, this as group B, and this is group C. And if this condition also fails, I'm calling it as group D. So this is how you can, without writing the nested if conditions, you can write the things over here like this. So switch, if the condition is true, the moment the first condition it gets true, it is going to generate the output. So I'm saying if the sale is more than 2000, output should be group A. If the condition fails, right, if the sale is not more than 2000, it is checking, is it more than 1500? If that is true, I'm calling it as group B. And if that also fails, it checks the third condition, that is it more than 1000. Now that also, if condition turns out to be true, it is saying as group C. And if this also fails, so I've given else, that is group D.
make my code into the second line? Is it control enter or?
Control enter. Otherwise, it also takes it automatically, but if you want to write the lines also like this, you can just come over here. So it's this alt enter, basically. Not control, alt enter.
Yeah, control enter is not working.
Same like in Excel also, you do the same thing. In the same cell, if you want to add into the next line, alt enter. Okay. So now you will see sales group 2 is created. And let's check this out. Just close this like this from here. And in these DAX, you can write some comments also if you want. So like if you expand it, right? Suppose you want to write some comments, right? Like in SQL, we write comments, you can do that also. If you see, you hit alt enter over here. So just you have to put this forward slash, and this is a comment. This DAX, you write it like this. This DAX helps in multiple conditions. Oh, this. Oh. Right, not in the starting, in the last, you can write this on the first thing. So you can write this a comment. This DAX helps in multiple conditions. So suppose you share this file with someone, they will be, if they would like to see that what that DAX is helping you with, so you can write your own comments over here. So this is just a comment that you can add. So we get the output as group B, group A, group C, group D, right? So now multiple conditions are created over here. And now if you just come into that same table, if you remove the sales group and instead you bring the sales group 2 over there, you will get that same thing for all the groups, group A, B, C, D. Okay. So this is where, I think we'll take a pause for today. So you can save this file, right? So we will save this. And so tomorrow on top of this, we will be starting off with measures, right? Which are more something that we will be using most of the time. So this is. Okay, so anything you would like to ask before we move off?
Amit, in real time, from the organization perspective, if you are getting more data sets right, you will be proceeding in the manner like yesterday you taught us, right? Breaking up the table into chunks like tables, fact tables. This is how we need to proceed, or we will be appending the data sets and directly building the data model.
See, both the scenarios will be there. So it can be sometimes you might be breaking the data, sometimes like the activity that you were trying to do yesterday where you had multiple tables. So data was already broken up into multiple tables. So you just bring them in and you start creating the relationships between them, right? And then you make the charts.
Yes.
So both the ways will be there. So the second way will be more, right? Breaking the data will be very less that you will be doing, more or less. Most of the time you will get the multiple tables and you will just connect them and then you start making the charts over there. So that is how the things will happen, right? So like when we did the 4 tables, like we had a So the region table, customer table, product table, segment table, and in the center we had a fact table. So
Yeah, that's from the same data. I mean, raw data. We have build our own tables, right? We have broken.
right.
Yeah.
You make that up, and then you start making the charts, you start working on the beautification, and then the different features, right? Like hierarchies and all those stuff you added, slicers, filters, and that is how you will work real time. And many times, like data mostly comes in the form of Excels, and if the
Mhm.
data is coming from some database, SQL Server, and all, that is also something that we'll be showing you that how you can work with the data which is coming from SQL Server, because there are some additional features that you get on that. The process will remain, flow will remain the same. So there are a lot of meetings that you have with the client that okay, the analysis that you are creating, are they good with them, or do they need some changes on that? So if they feel that report needs some analysis, they don't need some chart, they are not able to understand, they want it to be changed. So that is how you just do the verify the things and keep changing the things accordingly.
Okay. Yeah, the data modeling wise, right? If you're pulling data from SQL and another data set is coming from Excel, and how you will be binding and building the data models.
So we see once the data comes in the Power BI, now it doesn't mean that whether it's a SQL Server or a Power BI, right? For example, if I'm over here now, so there is one single data set that I have right now, which is
Yeah.
coming from the Excel. So if suppose I have some other data I have to pick from SQL Server, so I'll just go over there, I'll fetch the data, so that table will be visible to me over here then.
Yeah.
Right. So nothing is going to change. So I can create the relationship between them also if I think that there is a relationship between them. So I'll just click on that and the data will come up. But right now I don't have a related data in any other database. But if the same follow step will be applied. So irrespective what that source is, once the
Okay.
data is in the Power BI, you can create a relationship between them.
Okay.
Right. Like for example, if I pick, I don't have it on my right now. Maybe like table that we were using.
Yeah, no problem. You can show it later as well.
I'll show you that, but
Yeah.
we can make relationships over there.
Okay. Yeah, just thought of asking. Thank you. Thank you for the session, Amit.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So
Yeah,
tomorrow
bye.
we will do more measures and then I'll give you an exercise just on that calculations.
Okay.
Okay.
Today it's full of calculated columns, right?
Yes. Now tomorrow session and yeah, so 1 or 2 sessions we'll just have on the calculations only, and the exercise will also be just on the calculations.
Okay.
Okay, guys. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye all.